Hey, how's it going, everybody? Drew Rothenberger here, owner Shield Security, owner ERT, and your host on the Lion's Share. And today I have a great guest with me today. Jessica, introduce yourself.
My name is Jessica Robie. I am with All Star Myofascial Release. I'm based out in Farmersville. And so yeah, I'm happy to be here.
That's awesome. I'm finally happy to get you on here. I know we've talked about collaborating and doing something forever. Um,
Yeah,
how long have we known each other?
gosh. Then at least 2019 because it was COVID era.
I think it was before.
So
I think it was before that. I think it was like 18. No, maybe in 2018.
no, because I got in law enforcement beginning of 2019.
Okay,
So I met you after I was working in the jail.
that's right.
So we
Yeah, how do
I
we
was
meet?
fiddle farting around on the Facebook dating app, and you came across my page. I don't remember if you messaged me or if I don't remember how that worked,
I
but
I don't remember. God, it
mm,
was a long time ago. But yeah, I think you're the first of all probably the only sane person I met on that site, and second of all, the only one I still talk to.
yeah, fair enough. I know
Nice.
I don't blame you. I've seen some of the people that were on there.
Oh yeah, I everybody. It's been nice to have her as a friend because I can continuously share my horror stories, and we can play guess what's wrong with this one game we haven't played in a while. But all right,
No.
let's dive into it. Oh no. Hey, bud.
Hey, it's the kitty cat.
Hey, Scooter.
That's the real star of the show right there.
Yeah, everybody, this is for those who don't know, this is my cat Scooter, my best friend, my buddy. He's a really loving cat, always wants to be all up on me. So, can you go away for a little bit, please?
Nope.
Nope. All right. So, as you know, I did Stay in the Gray podcast. You said you got a chance to watch that?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, those
Great podcast.
those guys were great. So, one thing that we did on the show that kind of made everything a little bit funny was the would you rather. So pick a number between 1 and 60.
59.
Okay.
Make you scroll all the way to the bottom
Yeah,
of your
I'm
list.
letting you pick so it doesn't seem biased. Okay. Would you rather dive into a pool of semen or a pool of blood?
Mm. I mean, I guess if I had to pick one, it'd probably be a pool of blood, but I'm gonna go with neither on that one because that's
Yeah,
just gross.
yeah, neither would I, but I mean, either way, you're sticky. Yeah, I did not proofread these because I didn't think it'd be fun if I did. Um,
Fair enough.
Okay, would you rather marry the most boring person you know or the most intense and demanding person you know?
I'd have to go with boring. I'm way too
Demanding yourself?
yeah. I mean, if I bring home a cow and bring it inside, I can't have somebody turn around going, nope, you can't do that. So the cow's coming inside whether I want it to. I mean, it doesn't matter. It just so yeah, I'm gonna have to go with boring.
Fair enough. I think I'd have to go with boring too because, you know, I work a lot. I'm always on the move. I never sleep. So boring person would probably just be like, "Hey, I love you. I'll be here whenever you're done. Um, can we like go to a quilting event?" I don't know what boring people do. I don't really know any boring people. Do boring people quilt? Everyone, if you
Uh,
everyone,
no, because my grandmother quilts and she is quite the riot. So,
hmm,
and she's a very good quilter too.
oh really? I keep
Hmm.
I keep telling my mom, "Hey, knit me a sweater for Christmas," because my grandmother used to knit. So, mom, if you're watching, I mean, I'll take a scarf. Oh God. All right. Would you rather not be able to use sex toys ever again or never be able to have sex again? Oof. I got to go with toys.
I
But
mean,
that's different for women.
well, and that's I mean, I'm like, meh, meh. I can get rid of better things to do most of the time.
All right. Okay. Would you rather sneeze or fart every time you orgasm? I
Sneeze,
I gotta go
maybe.
sneeze. Sneeze, hands down. Ugh. Okay, here's one I've made up and I've been asking people. Would you rather fight 2 million bumblebees with a flamethrower or three blind tigers with a spear?
Bumblebees with a flamethrower because flamethrowers are fun.
Yeah, I thought about that, but then you've got like several thousand flaming bees coming at you. I don't know. But
I'd take my chances.
yeah, I'd say flamethrower. And I mean,
Of course, then I could go the other route and be like, I can make friends with a tiger. So, I mean,
it's
a
true.
couple cans of cat food and you'd be their best friend.
Scooter, you got my back in the tiger fight, right? Yeah, he's got my back. All right. Well, since you played along and those were some pretty strange ones, tell me about you, because I know we've told the people that we met back in the day, but you've had a lot of success and you're one of the most driven, goal oriented persons that I know. So, kind of sell yourself, kind of tell everybody what I know about you.
So, as I mentioned earlier, I do myofascial release. I work with the population of people that are in chronic pain. Typically, the people that find me are the people that have had surgeries that have failed or are trying to stay out of surgery and are trying to get off medication. I get the people who are the ones that the doctors turn around and go, "Oh, you're just addicted to drugs. That's the only reason you want painkillers." I take all those people and I use myofascial release. I use the John Barnes style myofascial release.
Now,
That
what
whole,
what is
go ahead.
myofascial release? Kind of explain to the people what it is, because they'll probably be going, "Is that like some kind of Asian food?" I don't know.
So, oh, I always love trying to break down myofascial release without using all the big sciencey terms. Um, Basically, you have a liquid tissue that is intertwined through all of the muscles and wrapped around the muscles, the bones, the organs, nerves, blood vessels, everything.
Hmm.
And so when this tissue starts to dry out to become tight, that knotted description that we like to give to muscles, it can cause a lot of pain, a lot of dysfunction, movement pattern compensations. So when I use myofascial release, it is a very gentle technique. It's sustained holds where I'm usually holding into the body for anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes. And it's gentle compression, finding out where the dense tissue is and allowing that to soften. It's not a painful technique. I get a lot of people who think that it's comparable to like Rolfing or Arasti. Arasti is the big one that everybody asks about. And it's not anything, what I use is nothing compared to that.
Hmm.
Um, all very gentle, very light, but extremely effective as far as getting people out of pain and getting them back to a more functional state.
So, what's the difference between that and massage? I know you've told me before, but it's been a good minute.
Yeah. So myofascial release, because it is a sustained hold, it is constant pressure or constant traction of like an arm or a leg. that is being held for a specific amount of time. When you're doing massage, you're constantly flowing and moving and going, and it is a very, um, it's just a very flowy modality. I like to call those fluff and buffs, where my fascial release is definitely not fluff and buff, but a lot of my clients are actually, once they get into the MFR, they realize it's just as relaxing and even more beneficial than massage. So,
All right.
yeah.
So who tell the people how they can find you, where you're located, and just all about how to get in touch with you.
So I am located in Farmersville, Texas. Technically Merritt, but Farmersville is literally like the other side of the road. Um, I've got my website, www.allstarmfr.com. I've got my information on the nutrition coaching and the myofascial release, and then I've got all of my online booking that's there. You can go on there, see my entire schedule, everything that I offer, and that includes the nutrition aspect of things too. And then I'm on Facebook. I'm more active on my personal profile, and that's just Jessica Robie. And then I've got my Facebook profile for the All Star Myofascial Release.
And everybody, she's going to send me all the links for that, and I'm going to be dropping them in the video so we can get her some traffic because she's really good at what she does. She kind of helped explain. I always knew nutrition was important to like healing, but she's the one that kind of hit home the foods what type of food can interact with what type of muscle and the magnesium trick. Okay, do the Epsom salt bath trick or whatever that was because that blew my mind. Not
So
that she,
my favorite thing,
not that she gave me a bath. It was a technique that she found.
so my favorite thing to give to people is the Epsom salt baths. And that is depending on the person, it's going to be anywhere from probably like 2 to 5 pounds. So typically I give everybody 4 pounds, go with 4 pounds of Epsom salt, chunk it in the tub, fill it up, and then soak for like 45 minutes. We want to talk about something that is going to change your life. That whole measly 1 cup that the bag tells you to put, you chunk 4 pounds in the tub. I mean, it gets, from my experience, I'm not going to say it's everybody across the board, but from my experience, it helps with asthma. It helps people sleep better, helps with anxiety, stress. Um, I mean, there's a whole slew of things that 4 pounds of Epsom salt helps with.
A schlew. You heard it here first.
Slew.
Um, all right. Now, I'm not purposely trying to give them a plug. Kind of maybe I am because they're so awesome. But for a few minutes, just want to talk about Apex because I think that's both helped us out a lot in our life. Um, Apex is a mastermind program created by Ryan Stewman. You're going to meet the best people you've ever met in there. I can't praise Apex enough. And I finally got you in there. I've been trying and trying and trying and trying. So, what experience have you found? What's it helped you with?
Uh, Honestly, I think a lot of it's the community. Um, I people in Apex, I tend to sit back and watch and gather information. A lot of my issues are the same issues everybody else is having, and so I figure instead of echoing the same question, I just kind of coast on everybody else's stuff. But I've met Steve Gamlin. I've interviewed
Mm.
with Steve Gamlin. Um, you know, Josh Thomas, Sebastian Rusk is helping me with my um, imaging and audio and everything.
Very good
So,
guy.
Matt Chalmers, I've just picked him up as my primary doctor. He's freaking fantastic.
Yeah, you told
So,
me I got to go figure out a time to meet with him. But man,
Yeah.
Steve taught me a lot about um, podcasting and everything. And I mean
Hmm.
that dude is just a shot of positivity.
Yeah, Steve's
He,
awesome.
he and Danny, I mean, are just like mainlining positivity. It's great. All right, guys, enough for Apex. We love you, but we're gonna move on. All right. So let me look at the little outline because can I remember? Mm. All right. So you were once a detention officer with Richardson, right?
Rowlett.
Rowlett. Okay. At Rowlett Richardson. I always forget. Um, tell
Richardson's probably better.
probably. Okay. So kind of tell me what that was like. Because I know you'd always be texting me and be like, "Oh, this just happened." I'd be like, "Oh, okay." I
Freaking blast.
I always looked for the funny stories, but yeah.
Oh yeah. Um, no, so Rowlett's a small jail. Um, and as much as I absolutely adore Rowlett, don't let this be any sway of whether or not you go work there or not.
Or get arrested there.
Meh. Um, but no, I freaking love that jail. So when I went in, we had 8 male cells, 2 female cells, I think. Um, we were a 2-man jail, so 2 people staffed in the jail at any given time, unless the occasional our partner needed off, and then it was a 1-person jail where one person was taking care of everything, but typically we had 2. So we did everything from bookend court paperwork to court to, breakfast, lunch, dinner, all of our checks. We did everything. Anytime the officers needed fingerprints, because technically the juveniles were supposed to be taken care of by the officers that arrested them, but oftentimes we got called up to go process the juveniles also. But typically we processed everybody 17 and older for our part of the jail. Um, I mean, we would go days where we didn't have anybody in jail, and then we would get days where we had freaking 10 to 12 arrests all in one shift, and sometimes all at the same time. Those were fun. And then, of course, the DWIs, the public intoxes, the high people, the mentally challenged people. Um, on the occasion, you'd have the decent person who got brought in on some traffic ticket that they forgot about from, 3 years ago. And those were usually a pleasure to book in. They were usually nicer. Um, and then of course, we had the occasional person that our wonderful officer would bring in who enjoyed amping the arrestees up, and he would bring them in and they'd all be pissed off with him, and we turn around and go, yeah, we know him, he's an ass.
You're like, oh God, this guy again. Um, yeah, there'd be whole days when I'd text you and you'd be like, "Oh, no one, nothing's happening, no one here," and I'm like, "What? Sounds great." I remember one time I was putting someone in jail in Arlington, and it was a Friday night, and I mean, the line was backed up. It was like 40 minutes just waiting to process this guy, and I'm sitting
No.
like, oh, I really got to do my report. And then after hearing your stories, and I mean, I'm like, I'm kind of being an asshole. I'm like, oh, I want to go, and you guys have to deal with them. Um, what were the meals like? What were you serving for like breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
So breakfast was a honey bun.
Nutritious.
Oh, so so bad. Lunch was the chicken flavored off-brand ramen.
Because Regular ramen's so
Great.
expensive. What about dinner?
It's terrible. Dinner was usually the pepperoni hot pockets. Sometimes they would mix it up though and do ham and cheese.
Okay, I can dig it. Did you ever have
Oh,
a?
and then they got what's that?
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, and then they got usually like a oatmeal cream pie or um some sort of like highly processed dessert that was also just as bad as all the rest of the food.
Did you ever get anyone that was kosher or claimed to be kosher?
No, no. Um, we had a handful of people that claimed to be like vegan, in which case my partners would usually run over to Walmart and grab some like plants and feed them that.
Just give them an onion. Here you go. Look them
Here,
dead in the eye. Eat it.
here's a
No,
head of lettuce.
no. I asked because oh, you froze.
Did I?
Yep, there you go. I was like, oh wow,
Okay.
you're. I was like, you're really holding that. Just I do that to mess with people all the time. I just freeze.
Fair enough.
Um, no, I was watching the show Orange is the New Black. I don't know if you ever saw that. Um,
Mhm.
actually, it had its moments. It was pretty funny at some points, but um, there were there was a whole bunch of new prisoners brought in, and this one girl was saying that she was kosher, and so they were having to give her like prepackaged meals, and it was like really good stuff. So everyone was all of a sudden saying, "Oh yeah, I'm culture," and one girl was like, "Yeah, I'm Jewish. I want that food." And they're like, "Okay." So they had to go through a like screening process, getting asked questions, and like none of them passed, except for one of them who was a former nun, and she's like, "What? Up until Jesus, it's all the same." It's like what? But tell me your worst story. Like it's up to you. I don't care if it's scariest, grossest, gnarliest. What's up of the jail?
Uh, I think the worst one we had as far as inmates go was our arrest from Applebee's. I'm just going to assume if anybody's at Applebee's that you're probably not anybody I want to be around because we had so many arrests from Applebee's. It was terrible.
Hey, well, you know what? $2 margaritas or whatever they have. You could pregame it. You could pregame at Applebee's, man. You don't have to be a dick, but go ahead.
That's where everybody gets in trouble, apparently. But anyway, so we get this girl from Applebee's. She's 19. She is just drunk. I mean, we actually expected that there was probably some drug use in there too, but that one was fun. So she comes in, we try to book her in, she won't book in for us.
Of course not.
Couldn't get her changed out, so we basically just we searched her as good as we could. We had our searches for Rowlett were very conservative. So we had somebody who didn't want to remove clothing. They weren't removing their clothing.
Hmm.
Um, so we searched her as good as we could and stuffed her in the padded cell. But from there, she probably spent 2 hours screaming. I tried to go talk to her multiple times to kind of help bring her down, and she wasn't having it. So she proceeds to back up to the far wall of the padded room,
No.
padded cell,
Oh no.
get a running start, and slams herself into the wall and drops to the ground. We couldn't figure out if she was knocking herself unconscious or if it was just part of her drama because we would like go and talk to her and we wouldn't get any response from her, but at the same time, she was breathing, so it wasn't a whole lot we can do.
It was like that scene in
And
Deadpool. Was it like the scene in Deadpool? He just held up the mirror and saw the fog. He was like, "Oh, never mind."
pretty much. And so once she would come out of that, she'd stand back up and she would run to the other side of the padded cell, smack, drop to the ground.
Wow.
She would do this where she'd get up, run into the wall, get up, run into the wall. I mean, we tried to talk to her multiple times, but nothing. She didn't want to listen to us.
All right. What kind of bets were being placed? Don't tell me none of you guys were like, all right, I think she'll go 3 more times.
Oh gosh. I don't remember actually placing any bets, but we definitely, I mean, we were all sitting there just gathered around the camera to the padded cell going, when's she gonna do it again? How long before the next one?
I'd be like, all right, I think she's got 3 more in her. Any takers? But oh, that's hilarious. So
So my partner finally comes in. Actually, we called in one of our other jail staff because he had a very unique touch with the ladies. Very soft spoken, one of the nicest guys you'd ever meet. But it was funny because he pokes his head into the padded cell and he talks to her for maybe 30 seconds, and I mean, out she went. She was like, "Okay, cool, we're good." Then it
I
got even worse
that wow.
because then she started just violently throwing up all over the cell. And because she was still drunk, she had no perception of where all that was and that she didn't really want to roll in that.
Oh,
So she ended up just I mean, everywhere, covered from head to toe. The one thing I am not ashamed of is that I learned to use my feminine thing to, to turn
Fem-
around and go,
femininity. Is that
yeah, I think so. But I turned around and was like, so I'm the germaphobe here, and because I am the younger jail staff and I'm female, would you please go clean up the padded cell?
and some dude fell for it.
Oh yeah, every time. I never had to clean up puke, pee, or any other bodily fluids. It was fantastic.
You see now why I have trust issues and strong opinion about women.
And
My
so
my
anyway,
deal
we got
my deal
her.
at least you admit it. You knew what you were doing, but
Yeah, and I even told the guys. I even told. I'm like, I know how this goes. I mean, I was.
if you're a dude, they'd be like, "Uh-oh, rookie, get a mop, get in there."
Uh-huh. Yeah. I mean, I was 23 when I started in the jail. So I was also one of the youngest people working in the police department too.
Mm.
So it really, I mean, between the female, the young, and the fact that pretty much everybody in there thought that I was cute, and smooth sailing. I could get whatever I wanted.
You bet your eyelashes, didn't you?
Yes, I don't know. I mean, everybody told me that they thought I was flirting with them, and I'm like, no, I really am just being nice. Like, yeah, that was probably one of our grosser, more interesting inmates.
Ugh. Yeah, I'm very glad I never had to deal with a whole bunch of that. I had a guy piss in the back of my seat once. That was about the extent of it. But what about your favorite story or funniest? Let's go funniest. Besides knockout
Hmm.
puke lady. We'll call her Applebee's
Okay,
girl.
Applebee's girl. So that one's kind of a hard one because I've got two there
Do it.
because
Hey, I'm not on a time crunch. We're
we had
trying to give the people what they want.
we had our high guy that came in, and he was freaking cool. But um we're trying to book him in, and first of all, he's calling me counselor the entire time. And so I get his name, get his address, get all the stuff taken care of. I'm plugging everything into the computer and getting all his paperwork done. And then we get to all the health screening. So when we book in an inmate, we have to get a health screening so that we kind of know what we're looking for as far as whether or not they have anything major, and we need to look out for anything that we may need to call medics for. I asked this guy, you know, or do you have asthma? And he looks up and he goes, counselor? He says, I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? He's like, counselor. He says, my identity was stolen and I don't know if I have asthma.
That's that's pretty. So, like, counselors and lawyer. Did he think you were a lawyer or?
Yes, judge,
Well, okay,
lawyer,
yeah,
something.
that's kind of stupid to ask what a high man thought. So,
And so I because I understand that he's high and that things aren't connecting properly. I'm like, okay, no. Said like medical conditions, like somebody can't steal your asthma if you have asthma. And he goes, ma'am, yes, he says, I know counselor, but he says, I don't know. It's like, okay. What about diabetes? Are you diabetic? And he goes, counselor, I've told you. He says, my identity was stolen. I don't know if I have asthma and I don't know if I have diabetes.
sticking to his guns.
He really was. And so going through that with him, I mean, just the whole time, and we're even my partner sitting there going, dude, you're even if your identity was stolen, they can't. He's like, you either have diabetes or you don't have diabetes. So that was one. That was one of my more favorite ones to look in because I mean, he was like that the entire time. And then when he finally sobered up, he was great. I mean, super easy to work with. And he's like, I did that. Yes. Yes, you did.
Sometimes, when they wake up and they're like super apologetic, that's nice. But
Hmm.
I, I, looking back, it was like hard to keep a straight face dealing with those kind of people, but at the same time, it wasn't because
Yeah.
yeah, nowadays, if you crack a smile at something someone says, you can end up in court on a 3-hour cross examination for it. Did you have to ever? Did you ever have to go to court to testify?
Thankfully, no.
Oh man,
No. I got the pleasure of skipping that part.
I only had to go one time, but it was on a DUI arrest. And I was asking some of the other officers, I was like, "Hey, what can I expect?" And one of the guys goes, "All right, here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna go to Costco or Sam's Club, buy in bulk. All right, you're gonna get a big old jar of Vaseline because you're gonna need it." I was like, "Wait, what?" And you know, DUI attorneys, there's a reason they make such good money because they attack and examine every little single detail. So I mean, the guy was good. He ended up getting convicted because you know I did everything by the book. But I mean, by the time I got off of that stand, I was just like drained. It yeah, it wasn't fun. So you're kind of lucky.
No. I'm still waiting on one lady. We had one that came in for DWI, and despite what I wanted to put her in the padded cell, but my
She she
supervisor did not.
she come from Applebee's. Is that why?
Probably.
Is that the Applebee's cell?
But oh no, no, she was trying to break into some dude's house. Um,
Damn.
yeah, she was, and then when the guy caught her, she was trying to get him out of her house, even though it was his house and he didn't know who she was. Um, yeah, yeah, that was fun. And so then she ended up like getting in her car and driving off, and he called her or called the department for her anyway. But no, I wanted to put her in the padded cell when she got to the jail because she was wasted. I mean, you had to carry her because she couldn't walk.
Mm.
So my supervisor wanted to put her in a regular cell, which is metal bunks and a concrete floor. She fell out of the middle bunk and smashed her face on the concrete floor. I mean, we had
Ooh.
blood everywhere. She broke her jaw, an eardrum. Um, that one was interesting, but I've been kind of waiting because she turned around after she sobered up and got out of jail and was like, "I'm gonna sue you guys." So I've been kind of waiting on that one because I'm like, when is she gonna come back and be like, it was her fault?
I
I'm the one
mean,
that had book ran.
it's probably every attorney she went to is like, all right, so you're wanting to do this. Everyone's going to know what you were there for. And so she was probably like, oh no, I was just trying to get money for Applebee's. I, good God, I don't know. But it's funny how people want to do stupid stuff and then sue the police department. I mean,
We did have one lady who came in. I mean, she was, when you talk about owning your crap,
mm,
she came in for assault family violence and she walks in the doors and goes, "Yeah, I bit him. What are you going to do about it?" Okay, cool.
not doing a whole lot to alleviate my trust issues, lady. Not you, crazy lady. No, I've never been bit. Thank God. Scooter, I don't even think Scooter's bitten me. My lazy kid,
That's,
my lazy cat.
mm,
Um,
Bumfuzzle's bitten me. Bumfuzzle gives love bites, so.
well, every time he like goes to bite, I'm like, ow, and he just like looks at me. Guys, I love my cat. I love my cat. My cat's my buddy. Um, wow. So now I want to shift gears a little bit to the election. Have you voted yet?
No, I have not.
I'm just gonna wait.
Now you've frozen.
I'm just gonna wait a little bit because you froze. Okay, you're back. I'm back.
Okay, cool.
Am I frozen?
You're a little sketchy, but not frozen.
Skip. Shut up. Okay, so um, I've been telling everyone, go vote as a citizen. It's a right, a privilege. It's what people all over you know cross countries and times have died for. So go out and vote.
Hmm.
You know, just go vote, rock the vote.
Yeah.
Uh, and I'm not going to go into asking who you're going to vote for because I don't want to set that precedent with people because I don't want some crybaby just being like, ugh, hanging up on me. And then I'm like, hey, wait, I still have an interview to do, man. So, what do you think? Whoever wins the election, do you think it's going to be a peaceful transition? Because right now, the president that we do have isn't running. So, either um, candidate that gets the presidency is going to be a transition. Do you think it's going to be a peaceful transition?
I
What?
mean, Trump's already they've already tried to assassinate him twice, and I think if Harris gets it, I think it's gonna be I think it's gonna be ugly either way.
Yeah. Okay. I'm very pro Trump. So, yeah, they've tried to. I mean, no president has had this many attempts. No president had an attempt on him since Reagan, and now like there's several different attempts. It's like, listen,
Yeah.
I don't think it's a coincidence. I don't think it's on the fringe. I think there's certain people that are like, hey, you know, who who on the fringe society can handle the situation? I don't know, but it's weird and it's scary. So
Yeah, definitely a little. You kind of sit back and just go, don't know how that's gonna go.
yeah, like we're not sheep, so we kind of question things. But I don't know if Trump gets elected, if there's going to be people rioting and destroying stuff, or vice versa. If Harris gets elected, people are destroying stuff. I don't know. So I'm just kind of waiting
Oh,
to
and
see.
that's, I mean, you look at the Democrats with the George Floyd thing, the riots that ensued there. But then you look at the crazies that decided to storm the White House. The crazies are on both sides.
Oh yeah,
So you don't really know when it comes to that stuff.
I mean, I'm just gonna sit back in my lane. I got my weapons. I'm just gonna get a whole bunch of food, Dr. Pepper, of course, because Dr.
Maybe
Pepper's
Jesus.
Dr. Pepper's life, and I mean my cat, and I'm just gonna be that, and we'll see what happens.
You're
So
actually gonna leave the Cheez-Its out?
you know, I hadn't had Cheez-Its in a while, so I forgot.
Really?
Yeah, I forgot how addicted I used to be to those things.
Mm. This dude used to freaking live off of Cheez-Its and Dr. Pepper. I swear. It's the weirdest diet ever.
As a security officer and as a cop, you never really have time to have proper nutrition. Like some of the sites I'd be working at didn't have a fridge or, you know, a microwave. So when I was feeling lazy and didn't want to meal prep, I would just grab a box of Cheez Its, have some Dr. Peppers, and it worked for me. But now I'm looking back and I'm like, is that the reason I had, knee pain from the sodium or artificial cheese?
Probably.
Probably. I don't know. I've got tendonitis in both knees, and sometimes it just flares up and it hurts. But yeah, it's getting back on track. It's going to be a weird election.
Mhm.
Last presidential election, I got requested to work a viewing party. So I haven't had any requests yet, but I think this I think this would be a different kind of monster.
Yeah,
But can't wait for.
with Trump and Harris running so close right now.
Are they that close though?
Ah.
Yeah, I know. I just okay. So I mean, I don't think that the military or whoever or science. I don't think we can control the weather, but it's kind of crazy that we had this massive storm that hit a lot of the battleground states. So
Mhm.
how I think whoever loses the election is going to demand a recount because of the fact that those people can't vote. And I mean, honestly, I wouldn't blame them because I'd want to make sure that system was perfectly set in place and everyone has the right to have their vote heard. So I don't know. What do you think about it?
I think on those lines, if Harris gets it, there's not going to be a recount. If Trump gets it, there's going to be a recount for sure. Somebody's going to find something and, there's going to be ballots that went missing or whatever. And people that didn't get to vote because they were dealing with storm damage or something. And it's, yeah.
It's gonna be it's gonna be interesting. I'm definitely I don't want to say I'm on pins and needles, but I'm excited to see the change and see what happens. It's like when a show is saying, "Oh, the season premiere in 3 weeks." And I'm just like, they used to kill me when like Dragon Ball Z would be like, "Hey, you know, season premiere in 4 weeks." I'd be like, "Come on!" And now as an adult, I hear that all the time, and then I forget that a show debuted, and I'm like, "Oh wait, the season one is over. When did season one start?" But so my parents actually started watching The Penguin on HBO Max. It was spinoff of Robert Pattinson's Batman. Did you see that one?
Mm-mm. No, I don't know. I don't know.
Oh,
I'm not a movie person.
I know. We've
I
had that,
mean, I got Doctor Who, and that's about the extent of my movie knowledge.
but it's Batman.
I fell asleep through all of the Batman movies. I could not, they just never caught my attention.
All right. Anyway, uh, it's a really good show. And my mom and dad were like, "Oh, you got to get on it. You got to watch it," which I thought was kind of funny because they really liked the movie, but I didn't expect them to jump at the show. And then I let like 3 or 4 episodes build up. And then I was like, "Oh my god!" And now it's getting close to the season ending, and I'm just like, because House of the Dragon season 2 didn't really hit home like I thought it would. So yeah, I got
And the spin-off series never really are the same as the original series.
well,
I mean,
House of the Dragon really in a spinoff? I don't know. We won't do a
it's a prequel, but still.
like we'll do another episode about Batman and House of the Dragon someday, but
At least House of the Dragons and Game of Thrones, Jeff has um taught me about and introduced me to. So
you know,
I at least know.
I think any woman probably always has to deal with that, just listening to their guy talk about shows that a lot of the times they're probably not even interested in, but we have to talk. When we love women, we want to talk to them and share like, oh, you know, home dude got decapitated. I'm really, not happy about that. And I think, I don't know, I think women have to just deal with it.
Fair enough. I mean, y'all got to deal with my rambling with other crap, so
Exactly. Relationships aren't easy. It's a it's a series of pick your battles and listen to the other person ramble about stuff.
like I forget what I got on the other day, but I got onto something and I was going 100 miles an hour about it and Jeff's just looking at me like, "Will you just calm down?" I'm like, "What?"
I can understand this plant was on sale. How many plants do you have? I know you're a plant lady.
I feel naked. All of my plants are outside. Um, but I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I've got at least 9 plants that live in here. I like my plants.
I know.
I've got a, I killed one of them accidentally this summer. It was being a butt and I couldn't get the lighting just right, but that's what happens when you get a tropical plant and you don't live in a house that you can maintain tropical temperatures.
So I feel like you should like paint the walls in your room, and whenever someone comes in to get work done, you can be like, "This is the jungle room," and just have like all kind of plants everywhere. I feel like if you had a big enough house, you would have like a jungle, like an indoor greenhouse kind of deal.
Yeah, oh yeah. And if I didn't have cats, that's the other problem.
Hey, cats are good creatures.
They are amazing, except for when you have plants. Because then Bumfuzzle will sit there and she'll get the plant. She'll be like, Bumfuzzle, no. Bumfuzzle, stop it. Boom.
Their ears go back and their eyes are all big, and they're like, "Watch this."
Yes, their pupils get all huge.
So one sensitive subject between you and I is your lack of love of the Glock handgun.
Hold on a minute.
Oh, did you switch sides?
I have always my Glock 19s, my Glock 17s.
What do you carry now?
Right now I carry a Shield M&P, a compact, and then I've got a Glock 43X. But I don't. These sights are messed up on my Glock 43X, so I don't hit as well with my Glock 43X. But my Shield M&P, I am quite the shot with that little handgun.
Your
So
sights.
yes, the sights are messed up. Okay, so caveat here, right? I was at the range with my Glock 43X because I was nailing with my shield, right? And switched over to my 43X. And SRO comes over and he's like, "What's going on?" He's like, "You can hit the target with that one, but what's going on?" I was like, "The sights are messed up here." And in my 43X, he put like 3 or 4 shots right on where he was shooting, and he hands it back, going, "It's not your sights." I went, "It is definitely my sights." But yeah.
You know what? To each their own. I'd rather someone carry a weapon that they can comfortably shoot than a Glock.
Oh,
Glock life.
well, and my shield has gone through multiple classes with Daniel Shaw, so I've definitely
Hmm.
put a lot more time into that handgun. Where my Glock 43X I got during COVID, and there was no ammo to buy,
Oh, tell me
and
about
so
it.
it kind of got shelved for a little while, and just recently started shooting it finally.
I hate when you can't buy ammo or the ammo's so expensive and you're just like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna really enjoy this for, about 25 minutes, but some guys pay for a lot more for a lot less time.
Hmm.
Um, so as working former law enforcement, what do you wish the public would know about handguns and weapons in general? Because I know you've probably heard a lot of arguments for and against them.
Education. Get into actual tactical classes. That And I know Texas did away with their concealed carry permits, but that those concealed carry classes that everybody's like, "Oh, I got my concealed carry permit. I went through the classes, so now I know how to carry my handgun." No, you don't.
No, you don't. Um,
I mean, you get into a tactical class and they teach you about backdrops and your innocent bystanders and uh, surround your awareness for your surroundings and teaching you about how you're holding your handgun so that you're not flagging everybody that you pass.
oh my,
Because heaven forbid you're in the middle of something and you've got your finger on the trigger and you're flagging everybody. It's only, you stumble and pull the trigger.
yeah.
Then you're
And
trying to do something good and end up doing something a lot worse.
yeah, I tell everyone, yeah, look, I know the state did away with it, but if you get into a situation and you go to court, they're going to ask what training you've had, and they're going to go, well, I went with so and so to the range, or my dad taught me this and that, and you're going to get picked apart because a lot of people don't know. Even if you're 150% justified with 1,000 witnesses around, you're still going to go to the grand jury. 9 times out
Mhm.
of 10, they're going to still go to the grand jury, and you better be prepared with your training, your experience. You got to be prepared for that. And I think TV has a lot to do with it because people are like, oh, they'll watch a show where the good guy, saves someone and everyone's just shaking his hand and like, oh, no charges. You were justified. I don't care.
We had people come into the jail who pulled their handgun for self-defense and still got nailed with um aggravated aggravated assault deadly weapon. Basically pulling their handgun um and not having a right to do so.
Yeah.
Those charges would get dropped if the person was found to actually be defending themselves, but the fact that law enforcement still has a right to arrest them if they're not sure.
Right. And
You know,
I tell everybody, leave the confrontation, escape. Yeah, we have a stand your ground law, but
it's not worth it.
no, it's not. And I've had, friends that carry their weapon. And I think, if you're trained, it's your right to carry. But say I'm in a Walmart, right? And I start hearing guns popping off. I'm not going to pull my gun and go find the threat.
No.
I'm gonna grab whoever I'm with. I'm gonna have my hand on my gun in case I have to fight my way to the exit. Then I'm gonna leave because if three or four good Samaritans trained, uh, you know, best of intentions, if they pull their guns and start running to find them, you know, good citizen A could see good citizen B, and they could each think they're the dangerous gunmen and start shooting at each
Yep.
other. And so, just avoid the confrontation. Keep yourself safe. That and educate yourself. I
Yeah.
think.
And never pull your gun unless you actually need it.
Oh yeah,
Like, don't pull your gun while you're trying to get out of somewhere. And that whole movie scene of holding the gun up and trying to back your way out. No, no, keep your gun holstered unless you need it.
right. So when you're concealed carrying, do you carry appendix or do you carry on the hip?
Mm, yes, depends on what I'm doing.
Mhm.
If I am working and for some reason needing to carry, was something that I did a lot while I worked for Massage Envy. I would carry back of the hip just because I was usually in a bent over position. If I'm out working with the horses, I carry back of the hip. If I'm out shopping, I carry appendix. Um, I prefer appendix, but a lot of times that appendix, especially if you're bending and moving and crouching, it kind of gets in the way.
Yeah. uh, hey, as a guy, if you appendix carry, you gotta maneuver a lot more, and it's a pain. But I prefer appendix carry if I can. Um, I carry a 26 as my appendix carry, and I really like it. Um, some people like the 19X, but I don't know. Again, all preference. Whatever
Mhm.
weapon, just like with Jessica, whatever weapon you choose, make sure you're proficient in it and educate yourself.
Yeah, education is big. And I know some people will fight education because they'll go, oh, well, if you have education, you have more liability on you. Yes, but
Because you should know better.
also you know what you're doing.
I've never heard that argument.
That was a big one when I worked in Rowlett was, get your concealed carry permit and leave it at that because after that you have more liability on you. And I'm like, no.
That's I'm trying to equate that to another situation because that's honestly one of the stupidest things I've ever heard in my life.
Well, and if you have the education, you're less likely to shoot an innocent bystander.
Yeah, 100%. You're likely to know about the law. You can't claim ignorance on everything, and
Huh.
ignorance of the law is not a defense. Like happens all the time. People, you pull someone over for leaving a gas station without coming to a stop, and they're like, "Oh, I didn't know." Well, that's
Mhm.
ignorance is no defense. I mean, wow, people have actually said that to you.
Police officers. Yeah. When I worked in Rowlett.
Wow,
Mhm.
that's crazy. Like I said, I'm trying to equate that to another. Wow, that's got to be one of the stupidest things I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah,
That's like,
it's one of those because like I said, you know, you can have the knowledge of what's gonna go down and be prepared where if you do have innocent people, you have a better knowledge base of how to move forward. Where if you don't have that education and you don't think about your backdrop and you shoot a suspect and end up shooting the person behind the suspect, then you live with that on your conscience of I didn't know any better and now I've just shot somebody that I
yeah.
didn't mean to shoot. Heaven
And
forbid you kill the person.
Yeah. And a lot of people carry FMJs in their concealed carry, and
Mhm.
they don't know about hollow points. And you're like, so
Yeah.
anyone who don't know,
FMGs go further.
yeah. So an FMJ or regular, whenever you see bullets in TVs and movies, it looks like a round cone. That's FMJ kind of deal. Whenever that fires, that will go through a suspect potentially. That can go through drywall. That can go through a lot of stuff. So, hollow point, the bullet's got a hole in the middle and a little rod. So whenever it strikes something, it mushrooms out. So that way you don't have to worry about going through bad guy and hitting granny. That's so. But that's one thing you get with education.
Yeah.
That you're going to say it with me.
My brain works a little slow sometimes.
Hey, you know what? I get it. I've been working and going all day.
Hmm.
What else we got? You know what? This is a good thing to ask. I didn't think I was going to ask, but tell me about your horses.
Oh, goodness. Um, where to start? Is there anything specific you want to know?
Uh, just go for it. Because I was looking at your profile, trying to get stills for the thumbnail, and I was like, you know what? She probably talks about her horses because who doesn't like horses? Come on, go for it. You get
So,
minutes of rambling time.
technically have I've got three of my own, and then I claim my husband's horse. Um, so four in total that I mess with. But me personally, I've got my Missouri Foxtrotter, my Andalusian Cross, and my BLM Mustang. No, when Bureau of Land Management, everybody hears, "Oh, you have a BLM Mustang." How does that? No, no, not Black Lives Matter. Bureau of Land Management. But then again, when somebody goes, "Oh, hey, Black Lives Matter," and they use the BLM thing, I'm like, "Oh, hey, BLM Mustangs," and then I get very disappointed when I find out that
I
it's not
think we
horses.
found what she was going off about the other day.